Boy, do we have a Civics Bowl matchup for you today. A rematch of last season's championship between North Central High School and Ridgeline High School. These two teams both fought hard for the championship trophy, but this season, only one can advance to the semifinals.
Civics Bowl is made possible by the Avista Foundation, the League of Women Voters of the Spokane area, and of Washington, and by viewers like you.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the third matchup of Civics Bowl 2026. I'm your host, Scott Leadingham. We've already had two great games, and I have no doubt that today's is going to be another competitive battle. That's because we have last season's champion, North Central High School, and last season's runner-up, Ridgeline High School. Let's meet the teams. From North Central, please welcome Caitlin, Gabby, Eli, and Anna. And in the audience, we also have NC's coach, Zach Pittman. And from Ridgeline High School, we have Abby, Talene, Tessa, and Vivian. We'd also like to welcome alternates Mary and Kate, and coaches Brittany Bergman and Suzanne Smith. All right, let's get this much anticipated rematch started. The teams have reviewed the game rules, and we've posted them on KSPS.org as well. We'll start with a toss-up round. I'll start by asking a toss-up question to all players. A correct answer gives that team a bonus question before we move on to another toss-up. All correct answers in this round are worth 10 points. Teams, are you ready? All right, here's your first toss-up. Which article of the U.S. Constitution outlines the executive branch of government? Vivian.
The second.
Yes, Article 2. And for your team's bonus, what are the 3 formal qualifications to become President of the United States? Go ahead and answer.
You have to be 35 years old, born in the United States, and been a resident for at least 7 years.
How many years did you say?
7.
No, it's 14 years based on the original Constitution, so we won't take that, but very close. All right, another toss-up. A time of heightened creativity in the arts, sciences, and economics arose between the 14th and 17th centuries. What is this period called? Tessa.
Enlightenment.
Incorrect. Other team want a buzz? Eli?
Renaissance?
Yes, the Renaissance. And a bonus for you. Some of the most important ideas about modern government, economics, and society were developed during which 18th century intellectual movement?
The Enlightenment?
That is correct. Back to a toss-up. Look at the monitor now for your first guest question presenter.
Hi, I'm Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown. How long is the term for mayor here in Spokane?
Anna.
4 years.
Correct. Your bonus, Mayor Brown again.
Spokane city elections happen in odd-numbered years. Do you remember what year I was elected mayor of Spokane?
2023?
Yes, we will take that, 2023. And another toss-up.
Hi, I'm Warren Saylor, a local tribal historian. I am also a member of the Native American tribe that inhabited the Spokane area for thousands of years prior to the arrival of the European American settlers. What tribe occupied the land where the city of Spokane now sits?
Vivian.
The Spokane tribe?
That is correct. And your bonus.
The Spokane people lived a semi-nomadic way of life along the banks of the Spokane and Columbia rivers. What made up 60% of their diet?
Salmon?
Correct, we'll take that. Generally fish, but especially salmon, steelhead, shellfish, things like that. And another toss-up. Each of the 15 executive departments in the president's cabinet is headed by a secretary except one. Which department is that? That is the Department of Justice, DOJ. Another toss-up. Which Washington state elected official's office protects consumers from fraud and represents the state in major lawsuits? Vivian.
The Attorney General?
That is correct, the Attorney General of Washington. All right, here is your bonus. Pictured on the monitor, who is Washington State's current Attorney General? Okay, it is Nick Brown. Nick Brown. Okay, now a toss-up for both teams.
Hi, I'm Spokane County Commissioner Mary Brooks. In our commissioner form of county government, what type of governing authority does the Board of County Commissioners have the power to exercise? A, legislative authority, B, executive authority, C, both legislative and executive authority, or D, neither legislative nor executive authority?
Vivian.
C.
Correct. Both legislative and executive. And here's your bonus.
Our 5 county commissioners are elected by the people of Spokane County, as are many other offices in our county government. Can you name 2 other elected positions in Spokane County?
Need an answer?
Fire commissioner and sheriff.
No, we won't take fire commissioner. They're fire districts. But sheriff was one of them, but there's a number of others. Another toss-up. Let's hear from one more guest presenter in this round.
Hi, I'm Oscar Rashid, a student and member of the men's tennis team at Gonzaga University. If you're considering law school, Gonzaga has a good one. What type of law refers to disputes between private individuals or private individuals and the government not covered by criminal law?
Abby.
Civil law?
Yes, that is correct. Civil law. And your bonus, it's another video.
There are 2 types of criminal law, felony and misdemeanor. Which is a greater offense?
Felony.
That is correct. It was a great first round, teams. A great job for everyone. Yeah. So after that first round, let's take a look at the score. And it is North Central with 40 and Ridgeline with 70. We'll play the head-to-head round next.
Time to test your civics knowledge with our question of the week. Did you know 2 of America's founding fathers died on the same day? Exactly 50 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Who were the 2 U.S. presidents who died on July 4th, 1826? A. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. B. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. C. Benjamin Franklin and Alexander Hamilton. D. John Adams and John Quincy Adams. We'll have the answer later in the show. Now, back to the action.
It's time for the head-to-head round when team members will go against one another one-on-one. As with the last round, correct answers are worth 10 points. Here's your first question. How many members make up the United States Senate?
100.
Correct. What is an unalienable right?
Life. Or, it's a right that is inherent of a person that can't be taken away.
Judges, yes. Yes, correct. What name was given to those who supported the U.S. Constitution when it was first signed by the delegates?
Federalists.
Correct. What does FLOTUS stand for?
First Lady of the United States.
Correct. Only Congress can declare war according to the U.S. Constitution. Who is empowered to carry out a war as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces?
The president.
Correct. How many amendments have been added to the U.S. Constitution since the adoption of the Bill of Rights?
17.
Correct. Math on the fly, that's very good. The Washington State Legislature has 2 chambers. Name them.
The House and the Senate.
Correct. In most states, the presidential candidate who receives the most popular votes wins all of the electoral votes for that state. Which 2 states are the exception?
Maine and Nebraska.
Correct. What was the name of the German mercenaries who were hired by the British to swell their numbers during the Revolutionary War? It's the Hessians. Which chamber of Congress has the power to try a president or other civil officers on impeachment charges?
Senate.
Correct. Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibits excessive bail or fines for those accused of a crime?
Eighth Amendment.
Correct. Which cabinet department of the federal government includes the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration?
Department of Public Health?
Incorrect.
Institution of Health? I don't know.
Not quite. It is the Department of Health and Human Services. And that was the final question in this round. Great job, teams. Taking a look at the score, it is North Central with 60 and Ridgeline with 150. The category round is next.
Here's important news for high school seniors. We all know the legal age to vote is 18. But in Washington state, 17-year-olds can vote in the August primary as long as they'll turn 18 before the November general election. High school seniors, that means if you're 18 or will turn 18 before the November election, it's time to register to vote. Only registered voters receive a ballot. To learn more, visit votewa.gov.
Before we get back to the game, we'd like to have the students present their school videos. It's a great way to learn more about the schools and share some spirit. Let's watch them now.
North Central High School is located in the heart of Spokane, Washington. Founded in 1908, NC educates and builds the finest students in all our city to become the leaders of tomorrow. Our students are indeed Wolfpack strong. They persevere to achieve great things in the classroom and in the field of play. They respect each other and our community. They cheer loudly and proudly. They inspire each other to be the best they can be. They celebrate our traditions, but can't wait for the future. They discover amazing new things. They are a family. They are a pack. The strength of the wolf is truly in the pack at North Central High School.
Ridgeline High School, a younger school in Liberty Lake, Washington. Success here speaks for itself. Last season, our volleyball team won state, dominating every match. Every point, every set, they set the tone for what's expected here. Our marching band swept its rivals at regionals, earning them national recognition, commanding attention wherever they perform. Belong, inspire, grow. That's what drives everything we do. In the classroom, we put in the hours. We study, we research, we create. In competition, we don't doubt, we win. Consistency is just part of who we are. You'll notice it. We show up ready, others try to keep pace. Our civics team took second last year. This year, we don't take second. Ridgeline High School. You'll see us, you'll remember us.
Great videos, teams. Those are really fun. Good job. As you can tell, the competition certainly is fierce. And continuing that competition, it's time for the category round where teams will select questions from 5 categories. This is the first round where points are deducted for wrong answers, but you can decline or choose not to answer a question or toss a question to the other team. The receiving team must then answer the question and will either win or lose the associated points. So teams, use those tosses wisely. Here are the categories you'll be choosing from: taxing the colonies, Bill of Rights, Current Events Quiz, DC Slang, and Binge-worthy. North Central, you get to select first.
Bill of Rights.
Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution and part of the Bill of Rights provides freedom of religion, speech, and the press?
First Amendment.
That is correct. Also in there are assembly and petition. Don't forget about those. Ridgeline?
Taxing the colonies.
For 15 points, when George III became King of England in 1760, he levied new taxes on the American colonies, primarily to pay for what war?
French and Indian War.
That is correct. Also acceptable is the 7 Years' War. North Central.
Bill of Rights.
For 20 points, which amendment provides the right to keep and bear arms?
Second Amendment.
Correct. Ridgeline.
Bill of Rights.
Which amendment assures protection against arbitrary searches and seizures without a proper warrant?
The fourth.
Correct. NC.
Bill of Rights.
Finishing that category for 30 points, which amendment assures the right to a fair, quick, and speedy trial?
Sixth Amendment.
Correct. Ridgeline.
Taxing the colonies.
For 20 points, name 2 items American colonists were forced to pay taxes on because of the Stamp Act of 1765.
Playing cards and stamps.
Incorrect. We can't take that. Printed paper, pamphlets, licenses, legal documents, newspapers, and playing cards, but stamps not quite on there. North Central.
Taxing the colonies.
For 25 points, name 2 items American colonists were forced to pay taxes on because of the Townshend Acts of 1767.
Glass and molasses.
Incorrect. Glass, paint, tea, lead, and paper, but molasses not on there. Ridgeline.
Taxing the colonies.
To close out that category at 30, it wasn't only taxes. Name 1 additional policy imposed on American colonists between 1761 and 1774.
Quartering British soldiers.
That is correct. NC.
Current events.
Here's a quiz coming from a guest presenter.
Hi, I'm Rob Curley, the editor of the Spokesman Review, Spokane's daily newspaper for more than 140 years. I'm gonna quiz you guys on some local current events. What iconic 12K race through the streets of Spokane is celebrating its 50th run this year?
Bloomsday.
That is correct. In 1977 it started. Ridgeline.
DC slang.
For 15 points, what title refers to an official still in office after they have lost an election or chosen not to run for re-election?
Lame duck.
Correct. NC.
Current events.
Another from Rob Curley.
Bloomsday is a Spokane institution. So is Gonzaga basketball. We know very little studying happens during the NCAA men's basketball tournament. How far did the Gonzaga men's team make it in this year's tournament?
Round of 32.
Correct. Also known as just the second round. The men fell, of course, to Texas in the second round, and the women lost to Ole Miss in the first round of the tournament this year. Ridgeline.
DC slang.
For 20 points, what term is named after a salamander-shaped district referencing the redrawing of district lines for political advantage?
Gerrymandering.
Correct. NC.
DC slang.
For 25 points, it's not uncommon for lawmakers to attach riders or earmarks onto a bill, which are provisions not likely to pass on their own. What term refers to benefits a politician arranges for their own district's benefit, often to win favor from voters in their district?
Pork barrel spending?
That is correct. Ridgeline.
DC slang.
Closing out that for 30 points, originally referring to the practice of putting papers into slots or shelves in an old-fashioned roll-top desk, what term essentially means burying a bill so that it is killed without being formally passed or rejected?
We'd like to toss.
Toss to NC, you have to answer. Need an answer.
Defer to Anna.
Anna, go ahead.
Pocket veto?
Oh, not quite. That's called being pigeonholed or pigeonholing. And we stay with North Central because it was tossed to you. It's your pick.
Current events.
For 25 points, again, Rob Curley.
Election season is already getting underway for the upcoming midterm elections. Several candidates have announced they're running for Washington's 5th District, which represents all of Eastern Washington. Who is the incumbent in this position?
Michael Baumgartner.
Correct. To Ridgeline.
Current events.
Closing out for 30 points, one more on your local knowledge.
Last November, Spokane voters approved Together Spokane, a joint tax plan between Spokane Public Schools and Spokane Parks to fund dozens of schools and park improvements across the city. Work has already started to replace Spokane's oldest school. What elementary school on Spokane's South Hill is getting a new building?
Adams.
That is correct. Just down the street from us here in the studio. I'm across the street from Ferris High School. NC.
Binge-worthy.
For 15 points, need a binge that will make you laugh? Which NBC mockumentary sitcom stars Amy Poehler as a mid-level town bureaucrat?
Parks and Rec.
That's right, in Pawnee, Indiana.
Binge
This
worthy.
will be the last question for you, Ridgeline. This political thriller will keep you guessing and watching. Which series stars Kiefer Sutherland as the new president of the United States after an attack kills everyone above him in the line of succession?
Okay. Independence Day.
Oh, incorrect. It's called being the designated survivor, so the person who doesn't, for example, attend the State of the Union address in the president's cabinet because they are the designated survivor in case anything happens. All right, well, that was a great round, everyone. Good job. And reading the score for that great round, North Central 170, Ridgeline at 245. It all comes down to this in the lightning round, which is next.
Let's check the answer on this week's question of the week. What two famous founders died on July 4th, 1826, 50 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence? The answer is B. Thomas Jefferson, our third president, and John Adams, our second president. And they are not the only U.S. presidents to die on our nation's Independence Day. James Monroe, the fifth president, died 5 years later on July 4th, 1831.
Okay, the final round of the matchup is here. It's the lightning round. We'll put 90 seconds on the clock. Questions are worth 20 points, and points are deducted for wrong answers. Teams, are you ready? The clock starts when I finish reading the first question. What is the title of the United States national anthem? Tessa.
The Star-Spangled Banner.
Correct. What part of the U.S. Constitution describes the role of government as the framers saw it? Anna.
Article 1.
Incorrect. The preamble. What type of government is based on religious law? Caitlin. Sorry?
Theocracy.
Correct. True or false, the English and other Europeans introduced the first idea of government to the Americas? Tessa.
False.
Correct. What term is used to acknowledge that the Washington state budget covers a period of 2 years? Taylene.
Biennial.
Biennial, correct. What is the American economic system called? Gabby.
Market.
Judges? They're saying no, free enterprise system or capitalism specifically. What is the longest article in the U.S. Constitution?
The first
Caitlin.
article.
Article 1, correct. Who is the current Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court? Eli.
John Marshall.
Incorrect. John Roberts. What is the term for false or malicious use of the spoken word? Helene.
Slander.
Correct. How long is the term of the governor in Washington State? Caitlin.
6 years.
Incorrect. It's 4 years. And that is the end of that round. Good job, everyone. And looking at the final score, North Central with 130 and Ridgeline with 325. That means, Ridgeline, you are moving on to face the community school in the first matchup of the semifinals. North Central, you did great today. We thank you for being here, and we hope you had fun. Thank you. Season 4 of Civics Bowl is almost half over. Be sure to tune in next Monday for the final first-round matchup between Shadle Park and Lewis and Clark. And you can catch up on previous episodes anytime at ksps.org, on the PBS app, and on YouTube. From all of us here at KSPS PBS, thank you for playing along.
Civics Bowl is made possible by the Avista Foundation, the League of Women Voters of the Spokane area and of Washington, and by viewers like you.